Hi folks, this is Don Meissner with the North Country Fishing Report. You know, I know a lot of my reports lately have been about trout fishing because it's now trout season. And no matter where we live in our area, we have trout waters around us that can provide a lot of enjoyment if anybody enjoys fishing. One of the things I wanted to comment about today is my friend Dave Swanson, who has a website called Up North NY. Viewers that have listened to this radio show on that site and also have seen the videos that have been produced send in comments all the time. And one of the new things that has come in is this person sent pictures of some. Now, this isn't really about our area, but it's about fishing in general. And they sent pictures in of trout that are being raised in a hatchery in Pennsylvania. And one of those trout's called a palomino trout. And you'd have to see pictures of it. If you go on Up North NY, you can see the pictures of these fish. This trout looks nothing like any trout I've ever been able to catch, except one time out in Yellowstone Park when I was fishing Slough Creek, or one of the famous rivers out there. They had trout that look like this. And anyway, they're very colorful. They're I think a natural hybrid mutation of a rainbow trout, and it occurs naturally. And they're almost a pale yellow in color, with brilliant orange modifications to their body. And it's amazing to see some of these mutated trout that come out of natural selection. And another trout that they sent a picture of, you'd have to see these pictures to appreciate what I'm talking about, is called a blue trout. And there's very few. Blue trout are extremely rare, and they're natural. I'm reading this now from the post that I got. Naturally occurring genetic mutations of rainbow trout. And when we think of blue, believe me, this isn't just a blue hue to the trout. This trout is actually blue, and it has a gigantic orange mottling on its gill, and then a bright orange stripe that goes down its lateral line. And you have to see it to believe it. My goodness, if you were fishing and caught something like this, you'd think you were catching tropical fish. But it's amazing what does take place in nature. And this doesn't take place all the time. They say 1 in every 10,000 to 4 million fish has this mutation. That's a lot of trout. Any of us that ever hooked 1 million trout would be grateful. But anyway, this does occur in some areas. It's amazing to see the fish that abound in waters around our country. You know, I've been fortunate that I've been able to visit some of these places and experience some of this fishing, but it's fun to just look and see the pictures. But we don't have any of these in our area. What we have is every other species of trout in our streams and in our lakes. And most people would, if they were talking like I am here in upstate New York, if they were in another part of the country, they'd be telling people, you know, there are some of these wonderful trout that exist in New York State, and some of the beautiful brook trout that we have in our ponds and lakes. They're just amazing. And remember one thing, that these trout that I'm talking about, rainbow trout and brown trout, that are in all our streams that we fish for trout, these are not native to our area. They were brought in here years and years ago. Our only native trout species, and they're not really trout, they're char, is the brook trout and lake trout. And they were native to some of the waters in the Adirondacks way back before any of us even thought about fishing. But brown trout came from Germany, and rainbow trout were brought in from the Pacific Northwest. And they've certainly become part of our species that we all go after. But I think it's important to be informed. And the more you learn about all aspects of fishing, I think it makes it more meaningful to you every time you go out. Until next time, folks, this is Don Meissner with the North Country Fishing Report.